So let's begin at the beginning of the text. Looks like this. So the subject of this text is Buddha nature. Buddha nature is not something out there, but Buddha nature is your true nature. This ever-present union of emptiness and clarity, which always there, has been there, is always there. So these Buddha nature is our true nature. So, subject of this text is very much about describing who we really are, so to speak. At the end of this online class, I hope we have a better understanding of who we are. With that, understanding of equality of all sentient beings. With that, one able to generate compassion to all beings, ever more inspire to walk on the path of liberations. Because since you know, since you are convinced now that your true nature is Buddha already, so all it takes is to reveal. So anyway, that's what we'll be discussing. Buddha nature is what we'll be discussing. So here, this profound text that we are going to use. This text, its name or title here, the Mahayana Uttaratantra Shastra is the name of the text. In Tibetan texts, most cases, we leave the name of the text in Sanskrit. So in this case, this name is in Sanskrit here. The reason for this is said to be for remembering the great hardship that all the translators in the past put and translate these, in this case, Mahayana teachings, which were in Sanskrit to Tibetan. lots of diligence. If one really think about how back then in Tibet, the situation, and traveling, crossing the mountains, Himalayan mountains, all the way to India, and study this language and translate. Those really translators put lots of effort. So to remember their kindness, so we use in the beginning of the text Sanskrit name. We usually say Jagarketu, which means in the language of India or Indian language, this text name is such. We use the Sanskrit name. And then now, let me first explain the title, the name, because this title gives clear identity about this text and what this subject matter. So the Mahayana was in Vajrayana and then Mahayana, we divide the whole Buddha Dharma teachings into two groups. The two groups are Hinayana and Mahayana. Based on the Buddha's first turning the wheel of Dharma, Hinayana teachings. Second and third turning the wheel of Dharma, Mahayana teachings. So, of course, according to the Hinayana teachings, they may not divide this Buddha's or Buddha's teaching into two groups, but according to Mahayana and Vajrayana, we usually divide whole Buddha Dhamma teaching into these two groups, Mahayana and Hinayana. And then the question is, what is Mahayana? Now, identifying Mahayana, we talk about how the teaching is greater than the teachings of the Hinayana. Hinayana means smaller vehicle, and Mahayana means greater vehicle. Now the greater vehicle, in terms of, we talk about 7 greater characteristics. In terms of focus or the aim, basically in Mahayana teachings, we're not only based on the first turning the wheel of Dharma, but second turning the wheel of Dharma, third turning the wheel of Dharma. The scope of the teachings is larger. And then we talk about greater practice and greater wisdom, greater diligence, greater skill or method, greater accomplishments, greater diligence, greater activities. So all these, how Mahayana teachings, Mahayana practice are greater than Hinayana teachings. But leaving aside all these descriptions of how greater Mahayana is from Hinayana, to really pinpoint what is great. By Longchenpa and Mepam Rinpoche, so all these great masters all agree that what is great about is mainly the motivations, bodhicitta. In the Hinayana teachings, the three Pitakas, basic teachings in the three Pitakas, not very much emphasize so-called bodhicitta. Whereas in Mahayana teachings, much emphasis is on bodhicitta. Because whether one going to attain enlightenment or not, whether anything we do, Dharma activity, can cause for enlightenment or not, is not very much to other causes to point, but bodhicitta. Where there's bodhicitta, then everything, all the virtuous activities we do will cause for enlightenment. So what really defines Mahayana as Mahayana is the bodhicitta. We call Tekpa Chechung Semji Che, which means the difference between smaller vehicles and greater vehicle is based on bodhicitta. Okay, so this text, which explains Buddha nature, is within these two categories: smaller vehicles teachings, and then greater vehicle. This is within the greater vehicle. Okay, Mahayana teachings. Now, Maha means that. Yana, again, Yana is translated as a vehicle, that which carries, that which transport. In this, we talk about the causal vehicle and resultant vehicle. Causal vehicle is the path that which lead you, take you to enlightenment. Causal vehicle. And then the resultant vehicle has to do with the Buddhahood, or the state of Buddhahood itself is the resultant vehicle. So Mahayana is the great vehicle, basically. These great vehicles, which if we embark on, will take us through the different stages of the path and to enlightenment. Okay, so that is Mahayana. Now, Uttaratantra, real name for this, short name, just call Uttaratantra. Okay. Now, Uttara first means superior or sublime. Some scholars say that Uttara means here refer to the third turning the wheel of Dharma, which consider even more profound than the second turning the wheel of Dharma. We call second turning the wheel of Dharma, Kapapa Tsenime Pichuji Kolo, which means absence of characteristics. It's a subject on the second turning the wheel of Dharma, mainly about emptiness, absence of characteristics. And the third turning the wheel of Dharma, we call Nipa Leparje Pichuji Kolo Kola, that which means revealing the truth wheel of Dharma, third turning the wheel of Dharma. So revealing the truth revealing, turning the wheel of Dharma, is considered higher, even more profound teachings than the second, turning the wheel of Dharma. So here, Uttara refer to this third turning the wheel of Dharma, which is translated as sublime or superior. Okay, Uttara means like that. In Tibetan, Ju Lama. Lama means superior, sublime. Okay. And then Tantra. Now here, this is very important. Tantra is very important. Uttaratantra is its name. Again, in Vajrayana, now not about Mahayana very much. Now in Vajrayana, we again divide whole Buddha Dhamma teaching into two groups. These two groups are Sutrayana and Tantrayana. Right? Within these two groups, whole Buddha Dhamma is explained. In our lineage, we talk about 9 vehicles. Whole the Buddha Dhamma teaching into 9 different vehicles. These 9 different vehicles are included into 2 yanas, Sutrayana and Tantrayana. So these 9 vehicles, for instance, Vaivashikayana vehicle, and Pratyeka Buddhayana, Bodhisattvayana. These 3 yanas are Sutrayana. Nyintuchi Tekpa, Vaivashika Yana, and then Pratyeka Buddhayana, Rangjagi Tekpa, Bodhisattvayana. So these all Sutrayana. Sutrayana. And Tantrayana. Rest 6 vehicles. First 3 vehicles are Sutrayana. Rest 6 vehicles. Like Kriya Tantra. There are 6 Tantra vehicles. Kriya Tantra, we call Triya Upa Yoga. Kriya Tantra, Chaya Tantra, Yoga Tantra. The 3 outer Tantras. And then we talk about Maha Anu Ati. These 3 inner Tantra. These 3 inner Tantra, these 3 outer Tantra, the 6 Tantras are named as Tantra. Whereas first 3, Vaibhashika Yana and Pratyeka Buddhayana, Bodhisattvayana are Sutra Yana. So like that, we divide into 9 kind of groups. And then now, Tantra here, interestingly, Tantra here doesn't mean that this Uttaratantra is Tantra. Doesn't mean that. This Uttaratantra is within the Sutrayana Tantra. Sutrayana. This is Bodhisattvayana. This is Bodhisattvayana, within the Bodhisattvayana. Even though it's called Tantrayana, within the Bodhisattvayana. In Kagyu teachings, Kagyupa teachings, sometimes call this text, these teachings as the Sutra Mahamudra or Ground Mahamudra. Basically, this teaching is Sutrayana teachings, but named Tantra. Now you have to understand this one. Then, if it's not Tantrayana teachings, then why in the world this one's called Tantraya, Uttaratantra, named Tantra? So here, it's called Tantra because of its subject, Buddha nature. Therefore, it's called Tantra. Tantra in Tibetan, Ju means Ju. Ju translated in English as continuum or continuity is Ju for Tantra. So why we call this Tantra, this text? Because its subject is Buddha nature. This Buddha nature, so-called Buddha nature, true nature of ours, has been always there. We call primordial wisdom, primordially there. And it is here. As I speak, as you listen, your true nature is Buddha. Buddha nature is right here. That's who you are. And when we are on the path, as we walk on the path, slowly, slowly walking on the path. And when one attain enlightenment, when one become Buddha, Buddha nature is again simply manifested. So the Buddha nature, our true nature, regardless how sentient beings become deluded, it's there, always there. When they embark on the path of liberation, it slowly reveals this Buddha nature as there. When you become enlightened, simply means this Buddha nature is now fully revealed. All the obscurations that have been obscuring this Buddha nature is finally clear out. And your true nature is shine forth. With its qualities. That is simply Buddha. So what is continuity here? Continuum here. Continuum, here Tantra or Ju is simply referring to this Buddha nature, that which continues all the time. While you are in ordinary beings, it's there. While you are embark on the path of liberation, it's there. While you are enlightened, it's there. We use all kinds of examples, but most example that we use is like crystal. Somebody left crystal here. So the crystal, regardless how stained this crystal, but crystal itself is never stained. It always remains crystal. So embarking path of liberation simply means slowly you are clearing out these strains of this, whatever obscures this crystal. And then clean, and when fully clean, then Buddha. So in our traditions, when lamas give empowerment, we always use these crystals. Crystal, your true nature is like this, always pure. Right now, as ordinary beings, all these defilements we call defilements of affective emotions, defilements of negative karmas, cover this inherent true nature, but doesn't matter. However, thickly cover, close this Buddha nature remains always same. So I think, as a, from Buddha Dharma teachings, probably the greatest news or message to mankind is Buddha nature, really. Telling people, well, you have Buddha nature. Regardless how bad we sentient beings behave, we still have Buddha nature. Attaining enlightenment is possible because your true nature is already Buddha. All you need to do is something, in fact, quite simple. So all the layers that covers up your true nature needs to be peeled off. Conditions of who you really are. That's all we got to do. So knowing, talking about Buddha nature, understanding Buddha nature serves a great purpose, really. With this, we appreciate, we value all other sentient beings. Don't think like that of him or her. Don't say like that. Don't disparage like that, because he or she has a Buddha nature. All sentient beings have Buddha nature. So this understanding Buddha nature serves a great, great purpose. So that Buddha nature is continuum, always present, ever present. So that Buddha nature is the subject of this text. It is within the Suttarayana teachings. This text is within the Suttarayana teachings, but this is called Uttaratantra because its subject is Buddha nature, that which is ever present, that which is continuum, continuity, continuously there, never stopped. So this text is Tantra. Usually we talk about the one text that is not Tantra when we divide into two groups, Suttarayana and Tantrayana, but named Tantra is this text. Okay. Now, Shastra. Shastra means Tibetan Tenchu, which translated in English as treatise or commentaries. Shastra. In the collections of Buddha Dharma teachings, so many volumes we have two things. Buddha's own word, we call Kanjur, is collected, all the Kanjur, Buddha's own word, his teachings. In Tibetan versions, we have over 100, 103, 100 and sometimes 108, depending on the how printing, big volume. Within one volume can have many different sutra and all the teachings. These are Buddha's own word, this one section, right? And another section is called Tenchu, Kanjur and Tenju. Kanjur is Buddha's own word collection, over 100 volumes. Tenju has over 220 something volume, depending on the printing actually. Again, over 200 volumes. These are commentaries made by not Buddha, but Buddha himself, but the great Panditas in India, all in India, great Panditas. So these are called commentary, or these are called Tenchu commentary, treatises. These over 200 volumes is only commentary made by Indian great masters. Now, if you think about Tibetan masters, then of course there will be a lot of texts. Each lineage we have so many different great masters, and then all their teachings. For instance, on these texts, there are so many commentaries, really. So many commentaries by great Tibetan masters. So there can be so many Shastras. But now here, this Shastra means it is commentary, it's a treatise, it's not Buddha's teaching, it is treatises because it is from Buddha Maitreya. Not Buddha, I won't say Buddha, Maitreya, Lord Maitreya, or Arya Maitreya, and which is spread into human world by Asanga. It's not from Buddha, but Maitreya's teachings. So therefore, it's a Shastra, commentary or treatises. And then now, in Tibetan word, Tenchu has two different kind of aspects to this. Tenchu, how do you define it is a good Tenchu, good treatises, good treatise? How do you define that? That we talk about Chuchok Tenchu, which means Che means taming or subduing or changing. Che means like that. Chok means protections, guard, like that. So how one look at the treatise, whether it's a good treatise or bad treatise. The good treatise has two qualities. That one quality is taming. That is to say, when you study this text, there comes the understandings. With that understanding, really helps our mind to change from negative mind to positive mind, from delusions to profound understanding. It changes, it tames, it subdues our negativities. If it does that by studying this text, then this is a good treatise. Second characteristic is protections. It protects oneself when one studies this and then practice this. By doing this, one is protected from being born in lower realms or to lots of sufferings. To lots of sufferings, one is protected. So this is the good treatises, good Shastra. So in another word, those do not change you, those do not protect you from like novels that we read, not necessarily Shastra. Here we're talking about something very profound, Tenchu Shastra. Okay. So now we know this text is Mahayana Uttaratantra Shastra. Yeah. Think about this title. It gives you lots of to think about, basically. Yeah. And then now let us think about the author of this text. This usually why this text is important, why this text is sacred, because the author, right? Author here, Arya Maitreya. Sometimes we refer to him as Lord Buddha Maitreya. But here, let's stick to this Arya Maitreya. Maitreya or Maitri in Sanskrit means love. Maitri. We call, in Tibetan, we call Jamba. Jamba. Jawa Jamba. No. Maitreya is called Jawa Jamba. Victorious love, basically. That's his name. Buddha Maitreya or Arya Maitreya. Now, who is Maitreya? Maitreya is said to be the fifth Buddha, going to be fifth Buddha. That's why we call Buddha Maitreya. Our Buddha, Shakyamuni, is said to be the fourth Buddha. See, when Buddha Shakyamuni our Buddha attained enlightenment, and when he decided to teach, he went to see. It's a beautiful place. Deer Park is called. In Tibetan we say, which means deer, lots of deer roaming around. To that beautiful place when he went for the first time after he attained enlightenment to teach Dharma, it is said that there were 4 seats appears. So he paid respect to the first 3 seats, and on the 4th seat he sat on and taught the Four Noble Truths for the first time. So before him, there are 3 Buddhas already passed. So our Lord Buddha Shakyamuni is 4th Buddha. So speaking of this 3 and 4th, we call in this fortunate aeon 1,000 Buddhas, Sanje Tong, 1,000 Buddhas appears. Actually 1,002, but 2 are more who request for Buddha's teaching at the beginning, at the end who collect what has been taught. So these 2, if not count, then 1,000 Buddhas in this fortunate aeons. 1,000 Buddhas are, in many sutras taught, 1,000 Buddha explained who are 1,000 Buddhas. And as well as in our lineage, lots of treasure teachings has again 1,000 Buddhas, empowerment, like that. 1,000 Buddha receiving blessings, 1,000 Buddhas. Anyway, among these 1,000 Buddhas, our Lord Buddha Shakyamuni is the 4th, and Buddha Maitreya, Arya Maitreya, is the 5th Buddha. Yeah? And where Arya Maitreya resides is in Tushita heaven. Lord Buddha Shakyamuni also resides. Before he came to the world, he was in Tushita heaven. And then, see, he came down, descend on earth in the form of, we call 6 Langchen Takar Chawatu, then, which means 6 tusked elephant in the form from Tushita heaven. He descended to the earth, entered into mother's womb. So before, he was also in Tushita heaven. Now, before he descended to the earth, he gave his crown to Arya Maitreya, and he met Arya Maitreya as his regent, his representative in Tushita heaven. And then when our Lord Buddha Shakyamuni's teachings slowly kind of disappear, and then our future Buddha, 5th Buddha, will be Arya Maitreya. Now, Arya Maitreya is very common in Mahayana, sutras. You may find Chinese version, Japanese version, all these different forms. But our version is Lord Buddha we have a picture. Can you? Maitreya Buddha. Okay. So anyway, maybe Isabel's not working. Anyway, our version of Maitreya Buddha is just sitting on the chair. That's inspiring. See, some people, have difficulty sitting in cross-legged, so just sit on the chair. But here, the significance of this image is that Lord Arya Maitreya is ready to stand up because he's going to be the fifth Buddha. He's ready to stand up like that. So we say that anybody who come to connect to the Buddha Shakyamuni's teachings, in other words, whoever read the Dharma text, we will be born when Buddha Maitreya comes, Arya Maitreya comes, when he gives teachings in the future, we will be born there and as the first audience in front of Arya Maitreya. Now picture came out. Thank you. Okay. So that alone, if we study his text, really, his most profound teachings, if we study, we are pretty sure we will be there. We will be there, definitely. So let us just, take that as a seriously and make our aspiration. Yeah? Okay. Now, first let me tell you the story of Asanga a little bit. Because these two are very much connected. Asanga's story is very well-known story that lots of lamas tell this story. The significance. Asanga is said to be around 4th century. Actually, his mom used to be a nun, and then she saw the declining of Buddha Dharma in India. She could not kind of resist it, but to give birth to a son, so that son will take on upholding the Buddha Dharma teachings. So she gave birth to 2 sons actually. First is Asanga, second is younger brother, Vasubandhu. Both amazing great teachers. Actually, when we talk about Jenduk Chogning, 6 ornaments and 2 supremes. Among the many great masters, great panditas in India, these are outstanding ones. 6 ornaments and then 2 supreme ones. So now I won't go into detail, those Nagarjuna, Ayadeva, Asanga, Vasubandhu, Dignaga, Chandrakirti, and then all this. Anyway, 2 supreme ones, when we count, 6 ornaments, 2 supreme, 2 supremes, one is Ayadeva, one is Nagarjuna, and one is Asanga. Nagarjuna, as you know, is the founder of Madhyamaka school, really the greatest Buddhist philosophy text, which explains Prajna Paramita in minute detail, beautifully. So Nagarjuna. And then Asanga is the founder of, we call Yogacara, or Chitta Mantra, or Mind Only School, founder of the Mind Only School. But he plays very, very important role in whole Buddha Dharma, really, making great commentaries on all these teachings. Anyway, Asanga is wonderful. Great master, realized beings. Okay. Now, besides that, let me tell you just a story. At the beginning, Asanga was when he was trying to study. He found himself, he wasn't that sure, he needs some help. So he decided to do prayer to Arya Maitreya. He meditated Arya Maitreya so that he could, see him from Arya Maitreya teachings. So he decided to meditate and pray on Arya Maitreya to see him. He went to a retreat and he did prayer after prayer for 6 years. 6 years. Within these 6 years, not only he saw Arya Maitreya, but even not a good dream came to him. It was quite devastating for him. There's no sign of Arya Maitreya. After 6 years, then he thought, well, I'm not going to accomplish. I'm not going to see Arya Maitreya. I better leave. So he left. When he left on his way, he saw a man with a soft cloth rubbing on a big iron bar, huge iron bar. He was rubbing it with a soft cloth. And when he saw this, Asanga asked this man, "What are you doing?" And this man replied to him, "Well, I need a needle. I need a needle. So I'm doing this, and later on, when, slowly worn out, this iron bar, big iron bar, then I will find the needle. For that reason, I'm doing this." Then Asanga questioned himself, "Well, for the sake of just a needle, what are you going to do with that needle? It's a very small purpose, really, almost no purpose. This man put such an effort for such a long time. I am," he thought, trying to see Buddha Maitreya, come to Buddha Maitreya's face and receive teaching from him and for enlightenment, right? Big, profound purpose. So he thought, well, I'm not doing enough diligence. I don't have diligence. I'm not putting enough effort for accomplishing, prayer and meditation to see Arya Maitreya. So he went back. He went back to his retreat, and then again he prayed. He prayed for the next 3 years. Again, there was no sign of Arya Maitreya. No way, nothing. Of course, and after 3 years again, he was devastated and he left. When he left, on the way, he saw a man with a big boulder, big rock, very high, big rock. At its base, a man with a feather. With that feather, he dipped into water, and then with that feather, struck on this big rock. And when Asanga saw this, he asked this man, "What are you doing?" And this man's answer to him was that, "Well, this big rock is the east side of my house. My house is there. When sun comes, this big rock blocks the sunshine, direct sunshine to my house. I want to get rid of this. Slowly, I will wear this out. Get rid of this, make it disappear. For that reason, I'm doing this. Slowly, stroking with a feather deep in the water and stroking. Again, really, Asanga thought the same thing. I'm doing for the big purpose. This man, just to get a sun shine on his house. Such a effort he put. Why don't I put effort? He went back again to his retreat and did practice. For next 3 years. Together now, 12 years he practiced. Again, unfortunately, there's no sign of Maitreya. And then he really left. Again, he left. When he left, on his way, he saw a dog, female dog. Its half of its body is rotten, with lots of maggots and pus and all this. And the upper part is okay. With that upper part, the dog was, making all this noise, trying to kind of bite him with so much aggression, so, making all this noise. And then when Asanga saw this dog, he thought, wow, this half is almost gone, rotten, lots of suffering, but it's still upper part, it's kind of trying to bite and making all this noise with aggressions. So at that point, he somehow generated compassion and love to this dog. Profound compassion generated to this dog. And then, now what he wanted to do, if he pull out the maggots with his hand or other means from this dog, obviously maggots will die. If he leave the dog as it is, obviously dog's going to die. It's quite obvious. Now, what to do? And then, not able to leave the dog as it is. So, with his tremendous compassion, he decided to take the maggots, out of the dog with his tongue. So in order to do that, he could not just bear doing it because the dog looks so dirty, he could not do it. So in order to do this, he closed his eyes and bent down slowly to, with his tongue to clear away the maggots. As he bent down, he could not find, he didn't feel the dog. Bent down, he touched his face, his tongue on the ground. And when he opened his eyes, in the place of that dog, stands Maitreya with his beautiful bodhisattvas, marks on him. There, Asanga saw him for the first time. Immediately when he saw him, Asanga said, "How unkind you are, Immediately he started to complain. I have been praying you, meditating on you for the past, 12 years. Let alone you come to me, but you even do not send me even a good dream. What happened really? What happened?" Yeah. So now, see, Buddha, Maitreya said to him, "No, not like that, Asanga. The moment you pray upon me, you invoke my blessings, you meditate on me, I have been there. I have been there with you at all time. Ever since, I have never been separated from you. I've been always there. But because of your own obscurations, karmic obscurations, and cognitive obscurations, too thick, you could not see me, you could not feel me. All this happened, but I have never left you. I've been always there. And Maitreya said, if you do not believe me, to test, you carry me on and walk in those where next place there was a market. You walk in the market and see if anybody, notice I'm there. Asanga was quite upset, So in order to test that, he just said, okay, he put Maitreya on his shoulder and walk in the market. And he walked in the market and asked people, is there anything on my shoulder? And people answered to him, no, nothing. What are you talking about? There's nothing. Nobody sees. And as he asked, keep on asking questions, walk around, came to an old woman. And she said, oh my gosh, why you are carrying this rotten dog, dead dog? Why you are carrying this on your shoulder? That's all this old woman saw. Because her obscurations, defilement was a little bit lesser than others. So she could only see a dead dog. So this is the Asanga story we tell. There's a little bit different version of a story, but I told you based according to the Rinpoche's account. So this story is important for us because when we do prayers, invoke blessings of the Guru, Idam Dakini, and we pray to Chenrezi, Guru Pama Sambhava, we may feel the same thing, even though we don't put much effort as a Sangha, but still we do. But when you don't feel or see the deity's face, it doesn't mean the deity is not there. As many of you know, Guru Rinpoche himself always says that whenever you invoke me with 7-line prayers, I'm always there, never separate from you. So this is something that, Asanga's story is beautiful. It really tells important point, for us when we pray, invoke Guru's blessings, deity's blessings. Even though we don't see them, they are blessings. They are actually presence, always presence. Where there's faith, and then recite the mantra or the prayer, always presence. Okay. Now, this text, the story of this text. Now I won't go into detail how this text actually come down to different teachers and like that. There's their stories. But now, after this, Asanga then was taken by Arya Maitreya to Tushita heaven. He took him there. And there he remained in Tushita heaven. It is said for 50 years he remained there. In 50 years, then he received all these teachings, all this, not only these, but all different kinds of teachings. And then his main purpose of Asanga was to spread the Buddha Dhamma on earth, right? So after 50 years, then he came back. He returned to the world, and then he transcribed the teachings that he received from Buddha Maitreya, Arya Maitreya. So those are many teachings that he transcribed. Among those, we call 5 treatises of Maitreya, Jamchu Denga, very important. Among all the transcriptions he made, 5 or most outstanding ones. This first we call Rinpoche, which we study very much in monastery. Rinpoche, which translated in English as Ornament of Clear Realizations, in which Buddha Maitreya talk about detail how the practitioners, when we practice, meditate, how we go from stages of realizations, beautiful teachings, and we study this. Ornament of Clear Realizations, 1, and then Ornament of Mahayana Sutra is the second. Ornament of Mahayana Sutra, and then other 2 we call 2 ornaments and 2 distinguish. One is distinguishing Dharma and Dharmata. That's one text. Distinguishing middle from extremes. That's one text. And the last, Julama, Sublime Continuum. Uttaratantra, this is the one. Now, among 5 transcribed by Asanga that he received from Buddha, received from Arya Maitreya, among 5 these texts, one is this one. Uttaratantra, Shastra, this one, okay? Okay. So now these 5 treatises of Asanga, of Maitreya, Jamchu Denga, 5 treatises of Maitreya, is studied in many schools, all schools of Tibetan Buddhism, basically. Monks and nuns, when you study for years, you have to study these texts. In our lineage, we call 13 great texts. And one is this one, that all shadas or scholastic training. We study this not only in Nyingma lineage but also Kagyu lineage and so Sakcha lineage. We have to study this, very important, and also Gelu lineage, of course. Study this. So in our Nyingma Sheda setting, we study. Our studies mainly focus on, we call Jungchen Chuksum, the 13 great texts. And one of the 13 great texts, this is a very important one. Uttaratantra Shastra is a very important one. So we're studying this. Isn't that amazing? Now, we're studying this. Okay. Among these 5 treatises of Maitreya, this actually, Uttaratantra Shastra is a very important one. In the history of Tibetan Buddhism, lots of scholars debate, we have lots of debate about this text. When different masters, different scholars, when they explain these texts, many different ways, many debates. This is one of the most debated texts. From this, sometimes you may heard Rangtong, Zhentong, emptiness of self, emptiness of other, based on these texts. Really, so much debate. And Chonangpa school, all based on this, from this text. And then we call such as Mega and Mainga, such translated as implicative negations, Mega, or non-implicative negations. This is actually philosophical language that we use, basically describing the Buddha nature. Then many scholars' presentations, amazing. If you want to be more intellectual, this is the text that you can go further. I hope this class will provide you good foundation for that. And then you can go from there. Okay, now we go to the next. Next one is page 19. Okay, this now new text. Okay. First begin with we call translator's image. I bow to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Translator's image indicates this text is among three Pitakas, Sutra Pitakas. Okay? Sutra Pitakas. And why it's Sutra Pitaka, there are different explanations, but I will leave it a little bit later because we're running out of time. Okay. So now this first stanza, if contains the body of the entire commentary, so on, this first stanza gives the kind of the summary of the, the whole text, subject of the whole, summary of the text. It is said that Arya Maitreya's style of teaching is first give few verses with the summary of the text, and then followed by detailed explanations, and then ends with a abbreviated kind of a sum up meaning. So these Buddha Maitreya's, Arya Maitreya's way of teaching is known as in school, in our studies, known like that. Same is here. So now summary of the whole text here. In this stanza, talks about this subject is subject of this text is of course Buddha nature. That's what it is. But how Buddha nature is present? Buddha nature is present in 7 steps, so to speak, 7 Vajra points. Through 7 Vajra points, Buddha nature is present. Okay. Okay. Now, what are the 7 Vajra points? 7 Vajra points are first Buddha, Dharma, second, Sangha, third, and then element translated as, there's a reason for why they translate element, I will explain later. But here, Buddha nature, let's say Buddha nature. 5th, enlightenment. 6th, qualities of enlightenment. And 7th, activities of Buddha, basically. So, how do we understand Buddha nature? Buddha nature should be understood through these 7 Vajra points. Why it's called 7 Vajra? Vajra has the meaning dorje in Tibetan, indestructible, cannot be defeated. Something this ultimately to understand, ultimately to really understand the 7 Vajra, the 7 steps, one must have certain kind of wisdoms. Otherwise, this ordinary intellectual kind of, conceptual understanding cannot really get into that, into these Vajra points. So therefore, Vajra. Okay, 7 Vajra points. Okay, isn't that great? 7 Vajra points, what we're going to discuss. Now, Buddha. What is Buddha? If I say briefly, what is Buddha? Buddha is this Buddha nature, basically. Remember the continuity, Ju. When this Buddha nature that we have is slowly purified. Ultimately, when it fully blossoms, immaculate, when there's no stains, that is Buddha. Fully awakened ones. And this Buddha then will be explained having all the qualities, 8 kind of qualities, 6 qualities. In short, the qualities of benefit of oneself, benefit of others, we will explain in detail. Okay, first in first Vajra point. Then in second Vajra point, Dharma. Dharma here, we will be talking about more about Dharma of realizations instead of Dharma of transmissions, referring to the teachings of the Buddha. We are going to talk about Dharma of realizations. Within this Dharma of realization, we will talk about Dharma of truth of cessation and truth of the path. Real Dharma of realizations. That's what we're going to talk about. Second Vajra point. Third Vajra point, Sangha. Sangha usually means who take refuge in Buddha, who study and practice Dharma. But here we are talking about Sangha is more of a sublime Sangha who has the wisdom that knows the natural phenomena, Citta Vichemba, wisdoms that knows the multiplicity of phenomena, Jini Vichemba. This who has these wisdoms and who do not return to samsara again. So with this quality, we will discuss about the third Vajra point, Sangha. And then fourth, the elements or Buddha nature. This is the main subject of this text, emphasize on this Buddha nature. We will talk about all different ways of understanding this Buddha nature, step by steps. And then all kinds of good examples, beautiful examples. Through these, we understand Buddha nature. Fourth, Vajra. This is the main subject we will be talking about. We will spend more time here. And then we will talk about the enlightenment. Fifth Vajra point. Enlightenment, as I basically say, peel out all the layers of obscurations. Finally, everything like sun shine out from the behind, leave all the clouds behind it, shine forth. The crystal that has never any stains, all clear out. So we talk about in terms of, we will describe, go through different descriptions in this text, but we call twofold purities. Purities by nature and purity from adventitious defilements, stains, twofold purities, and different stages of enlightenment. What is enlightenment now? Do we understand really what we are trying to achieve? That nature, that which is beyond, but conceptually to understand what is enlightenment. We will discuss in the fifth Vajra point. Sixth Vajra point is the quality. And if there is enlightenment, what is quality of this enlightenment? In this quality describing, we will talk about 10 powers of the Buddha, 4 fearlessness, and 18 unshared qualities, beautiful in detail. Don't worry about writing down right now, but we will be discussing more detail in those qualities of the enlightenment, basically. And then last Vajra point, the activities. When there's enlightenment, when there's all Buddha qualities are present, the activities of Buddha just comes out. But this activity is continuum there. There's no stopping, always there. And all these activities are spontaneous, like a wish-fulfilling jewel or wish-fulfilling tree. So like that, we were discussing. But through these 7 Vajra points, we come to a clear understanding, at least intellectually, a profound understanding that one can be inspired very much, or one can even share to your friends what is Buddha nature, the Buddhist in Buddhism. This encouraging message, really, very inspiring message, very uplifting message, knowing that every single sentient being has Buddha nature. That's amazing information. But how so? You know, so you will have the tools to explain what Buddha nature is all about. Okay, that's good. And then I meant to go through the rest of the second 2 stanzas. Second stanza is talking about, since this is Shastra, since this is treatises, commentary, what comment, Lord Maitreya comment on what? What Buddha's teachings? When you say Shastra, we're always thinking about something that made commentary, treatises on something, that on Buddha's teachings, right, always. So question is, what this text make commentary on? So here, there are lots of other ways of explaining. That is, there are 7 sutras on which 7 Vajras are, explain the 7 sutras, but mainly according to this, the sutra requested by Dharanashivara, King Dharanashivara, sutra requested by King Dharanashivara is the sutra that this commentary is based on. Okay? Zungchi Jabu Shubindo, in Tibetan is Zungchi Jabu Shubindo, that's a strong sutra in which these 7 Vajras are explained in detail. It's Zungchi Jabu Shubindo. In this, to this Buddha Maitreya base this commentary. He did not make commentary arbitrarily, made up things, but based on this sutra, he made these treatises. Okay. The last stanza here. Last stanza is the order of, these 7 Vajras. How these 7 Vajra come in order? Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, Buddha nature, enlightenment, quality, activity. How comes so? So here explains why this comes. First, of course, logically makes sense, Buddha, the fully awakened. And then comes what? From Buddha, the Dharma. From Dharma, who practice Dharma, the Sangha. This Sangha who practice Dharma then knows this Buddha nature. Talk about Buddha nature. And working on this Buddha nature is slowly attain enlightenment. Enlightenment. Vajra, enlightenment. From enlightenment, this enlightenment quality. From this enlightenment and qualities, then activities of the Buddha. So that's how the order of the 7 Vajra point is. We say that in Mahayana teaching says that attaining enlightenment is not the ultimate final result, final goal, but activity is. When we generate bodhicitta, we wish for the benefit of all sentient beings. What really benefit? Benefit is from the activities of the Buddha. So that's how the order of the seven Vajra came about. Okay.